Hello and welcome back to the Elets World Fintech Summit. And today I have with me Ms. Paroma Chatterjee, who is the Chief Executive Officer at Revolut. Welcome to the summit, ma'am.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah. Ma'am, we just wrapped up your session. So, if you could, summarize that session in just 3 statements. So, what would they be? What were your takeaways from that?
I think that the session was on the regulatory environment and what it means for fintech in general and startups in particular. For me, what stood out was the global angle of that, the opportunity to share examples of regulatory collaboration between industry and regulatory bodies in other jurisdictions, such as MAS in Singapore, EEA in Europe, FCA in the UK, etc. That's one thing that stood out. The second thing that stood out was conversations on what has happened well in India from a regulatory standpoint, whether it has been the regulatory sandboxes or it has been the DPI infrastructure, which has led to UPI becoming a buzzword with 87% of a 1.6 billion population using it. So the things that the regulator has done well, which has become a benchmark on the global scene, was the second thing that stood out. The third thing that stood out was also areas where the Indian regulatory environment could pick up learnings from other countries. Like, for example, having a more unified regulatory framework across the different regulators like RBI, SEBI, IRDA, etc. Having one common due diligence for companies which are seeking licenses across these, having some kind of a common ground for customer KYC, the same customer having to do the same KYC with different companies based on the product being regulated by different regulators. So some of those things which can be thought of and improved upon by the regulator is the third angle of conversation that stood out for me.
Okay. So since you talked about UPI, so UPI, it is leading, it crossed billions of transactions in March itself. So what do you think, like where we can expect UPI going ahead in the future, and what message that what initiative we can take so that it motivates to the first user generated for people basically. So what we can tell them, what innovations shall we do?
So qualitatively, I think today we still refer to it as digital payments.
Yes.
I think in the next 5-10 years, that'll be default payments.
Yeah. True.
That is one of the areas where we're trending any which way. And the youngsters, we actually have a very young population where 68% of our population is below 35 years of age today. And the youngsters, including my own son, they're digital natives. They start by ordering on the phone and paying from the phone rather than thinking of something else and migrating to the phone, which our generation did. So the digital natives are taken care of. But I think the one thing is that there are still 350 million Indians who don't have a smartphone. Most of the innovation till now has happened, which is smartphone centric. So I think more inclusive innovation of payments to include non-smartphone users as an example. Second, the other aspect of inclusive growth of payments is around excluded populations like senior citizens. A lot of them still find it hard to adapt to complex technology. So yes, to simplify it for them. Physically challenged in some form or the other. Solutions in Braille for somebody who cannot see, or voice-enabled solutions, etc., are things to think about to have a more inclusive payments growth in India and not leave anybody out of the entire 1.6 billion population behind. And the third leg is to literally ride the overall innovation bandwagon in terms of things like devices innovation happening. Up to now, payments has been restricted to mobile phone as a form factor primarily. It is just beginning to get extended to watches. But watches, rings, wearables, accessories, it's not a far day when a fridge can become payment enabled. I mean, the fridge detects using AI what level of stock there is, places an order with some grocery app, and then the payment gets deducted based on what is ordered. That can well become a reality to have a more integrated life space using digital to get into the way people do things and make it a lot more convenient.
Thank you for answering that so beautifully. It was so beautifully explained, I must say. So moving on, like where do you see Karnataka evolving over the Karnataka fintech ecosystem basically evolving over the next 3 to 5 years?
So one of the things that I have been speaking with the KDEM and the folks has been about not thinking of Karnataka in the context of India leadership, but thinking about Karnataka in the context of overall Asia Pacific leadership. One of the things that has led me to believe that is at Revolut, we run a GCC here as well in India, where we have 4,800 people working for us, and that has grown in just a 3.5-year span. And we don't just build products for India and don't just work as a back office shop. We're actually building the products for the rest of our Asia Pacific markets like Japan, Singapore, etc., etc. So why not think of building up Karnataka and Bangalore as a hub for overall Asia Pacific expertise and not just India expertise would be my vision. And then I would feel even prouder to be a citizen here.
Thank you. So, wrapping up the conversation in a quick rapid fire round. So,
where's the hamper?
We'll give you. What is fintech in one word for you?
Fintech in one word: agility.
Okay. Your favorite fintech app or tool?
Revolut. Hands down.
Yes. Okay. Biggest myth about fintech?
Biggest myth about fintech, that they are not regulatorily compliant.
Okay. Paper money or digital wallet?
Digital wallet any day. I don't carry cash around.
So now you have to choose between like this or that. So,
I have been doing that, no?
But this was like you were answering for them, but now you have to choose between both the words, like data or trust.
Trust.
Speed or stability?
Speed.
Okay. Then UPI or credit card?
UPI.
Okay. So any last message that you would like to give to our audience?
The last message is, yes, UPI has been the biggest innovation that has really transformed the landscape for India from a payments perspective and put us on the world map. But what's the next big idea? Or where's the next big startup going to come from? That's a thought I'd like to leave with fintech founders and potential fintech founders.
Thank you so much, ma'am. It was lovely having you with us, and your conversation, it was so enlightening. So thank you so much for joining us today.
Once again, thank you for having me.
Thank you.